What is going on, guys? Tom here from the Geek Culture Podcast at geekculturepodcast.com, bringing you a review of the Marvel Legends Infinite Series Guardians of the Galaxy toys. I do have all of them, and I will be doing unboxing and review. So as you can see, we start with Starlord or Peter Quill, we have Raccoon, we have Drax the Destroyer, Gamora, we have Marvel's Nova, which is awesome that he's in here. I'm just kidding, he sucks. As well as the worst of them all, Iron Man. Alright, so I'm going to pull all these guys aside, and we are going to start with Starlord, aka Peter Quill. So you guys are going to watch me right now open up the box. As you can see, he's pretty awesome. These boxes for the Infinite series are pretty cool as well. They are not typical bubble and card toys or figures. They have these AB tabs on the side, so once you finagle your way, as you are watching me do, pull them out. One side is only necessary, but I'm going to show you both. The cardboard slip that the figure's in will pull right out from the side, making it easy for you to save the box, to put the figure back in, or products, accompaniment stuff that he has, which is exactly what I do. So you guys will see Mr. Starlord right here has his orb and his phasers, which are pretty cool. The orb doesn't really stay in his hand as well as that phaser. His fingers don't close, but they do hold the phasers a little better than they do hold the Infinity Stone orb casing thing. So it's kind of cool. He's got this nice little leather jacket made of rubber, and his feet have some pretty cool articulation, more like a ball rounded area. So he's really easy to stand up and pose. His arms aren't bad as well. The joints are pretty cool. Full tilt of his left arm. His right arm's a little more stiff to move around, and his elbows are double jointed too. So you can kind of put him in whatever pose you want. I can definitely see these guys as they all excuse me. They all have peg holes on their feet to prop them on a stand and give them like a better figure action stance. But yeah, the phasers are really well painted. He's got like a little satchel on his back, and he's got his boosters. But he does have this extra head for his Peter Quill face, which is kind of cool. You guys will see in the back of the video. I didn't take out the cassette player or his headphones because I think they're kind of lame. I kind of like him with the mask, the Starlord mask on a little bit better, but he, his hair looks good, and he doesn't really look like Chris Pratt, but he is pretty cool looking. So we're gonna pop back on his Starlord head, and yeah, this is him. Probably one of my favorite figures, if not my favorite figure from this entire series. Really cool, looks good, and has some really good action movement. All right, so here we are with Raccoon, and he's pretty cool. Really little guy, as you can see. He's only the top half of Groot, so he looks pretty awesome. And he does come with a gun and more or less that chest blaster that Drax uses, which we're going to see a little bit later. But you guys will see he's very tiny. Yeah, he's a little guy. As to Peter Quill, he only goes up to about his crotchal area. But he does come with this massive gun, which is pretty cool. And it's got a couple like little rubber straps because Rocket is so detailed. He's got these little stringy fingers that you can't really do anything with. So to have him prop and hold a gun, it's a little awkward. But you can make it work by using his tail as a pivot point. You can lean him back a little bit, and you can kind of set up the gun in his arms. So he's kind of cool though. He's got a couple of little posable areas on him for articulation, and there he is. He's a pretty cool little dude. So you guys are gonna see. I'm gonna pull out a little bit later the blaster and try to put it on Drax. I don't do it in the video because it is a little awkward to finagle with his arms holding these hand area grips. But yeah, it's super detailed and it's super cool looking. I really do like this Rocket figure better than any of the other ones that have come out so far. And we're getting there with our Groot, so prep yourselves. Alright, here's one of my least favorite figures. Gamora. all in all, not a terrible looking figure. She does come with a sword, and she's okay looking. The problem with Gamora, and you guys will see me dealing with this throughout the entirety of reviewing her as a figure. She doesn't have a good pivot point, and by that I mean that because her legs are so small, when I touch her, she just falls over. Um, she's in high heels. Her legs are very tiny, and she's awkwardly weighed, top heavy wise, so you can't really stand her up. So the good thing about her is that she's got like double knee joints, so you can bend her to make her sliding or holding a knife, and kind of cool, I guess. But the thing about her is, if you ever wanted her to stand up, you would be forced to buy a platform that you could put her on to pose in a better way. She kind of looks like a showgirl dancer holding a sword. So it's one of those things that having Gamora, yeah, completes the set, but she doesn't really add anything. Even this little gun holster on her, you know, it would have been cool to give her a gun, but they gave her a sword. Doesn't really add anything to the Legends Infinite Series Guardians of the Galaxy collection, besides Groot's leg. But yeah, that's Gamora in a nutshell. Not really my most favorite. So here she is. Here's the most important part of her. Alright, and now we are on to Drax the Destroyer. First glance, he looks pretty cool. When you do get him out of the package, though, and you get an up-close look at him, you will notice that he seems a little disproportionate, a little top-heavy, if you will. Even though he has no hard time standing up, you can move him. He does come with 2 blades. He's jacked, you know. He's got all of his big muscles. The cool thing about his knives is they do go, as you see, right in his boots. They incorporated a little bit of a blade holder into his boots, and I'm assuming that that is for the chest piece we are going to put on. Now, you guys aren't going to see me struggle with it for him right now, but I do put this on him, and you'll see one of the articulations in his stomach. Here, yeah, you guys know at this point the camera's turning off. So here he is with it. There's an articulation in his stomach that allows you to bend his torso, so he can stand up pretty much straight while holding this giant piece of plastic. It's kind of cool, but he does also have the peg holes on the bottom of his feet. So if you guys do get platforms, you can just pose him however you want. His head also moves, so he's kind of cool. The blaster is really detailed and colorful, and it's really cool looking. So when you do set all these guys up, he's quite an addition. I would say 10 times better than Gamora for not being a lead figure character. Alright, and now we are on to Marvel's Nova. The one thing about Nova that I can honestly say is that he would be cool if you had a flying stand. As they show on the back of the box, he would be a cool flying figures stand. Doesn't really look like anybody so far, but when we do pull him out of the package, you'll see both of his hands are closed. He doesn't have any accessories like a blade or a gun or anything. He does have the same feet that Peter Quill did have, so he's pretty easy to stand. He's got some decent articulation in his arms and in his shoulders and head, etc. They did put in these back flaps, so when you do push up his arms as if he were flying, they would not get in the way. It's the same thing you guys will see with the Iron Man figure, but it makes it a little bit easier that if you do have a flying figure stand, he might be a little bit cooler of a figure, hence why his fists are closed and there's not a lot to him. Colors are pretty basic as well, you know, typical blue and gold. He's one of the figures, as well as the next Iron Man figure, that I don't even have set up in my collection now. They're just kind of lame, and the only thing you really get out of these figures are the Groot pieces. So, I mean, with this, we're one step closer to building our massive Groot figure, and that's really it for Nova. There's not a lot more to talk about with him other than he's going to be essential in the building of the bigger character. Alright, so on to this lame-ass Iron Man. I couldn't tell you what mark this is. He does have an open hand, as you guys can see on the back of the box, and it's one of those things that thank God he did, because if he didn't have this generic pose, he would be a waste of plastic. But because of this pose, you can't really do anything else with him. The things that are on his shoulder, you'll see, are able to come off. But his elbows are super weak, and the plastic on his joints are really terrible. I almost broke him trying to pose him in that first stance. So it makes him a little weird to hold, but you can see I pull off these. They're only attached by like two little dots. You can see them on his shoulders. To make him easier to pose. Everything's kind of awkward and lame about this Iron Man figure. So really the only good thing about this one too is that he comes with another leg for our awesome Groot. So let's get started on this awesome Groot. You guys will see how big he really is. The one thing I was nervous about building these is messing up my legs, but they already took care of that with the arms and the legs. There's a little hole and a big hole that will only fit the specified leg or arm. So here he is. Super detailed, super awesome, easy to stand up. He's got like a hunchback like he does in the movie, and it's just cool. His fingers are detailed. He's just awesome looking. His feet are cool. Top of his head's cool. You can see him in proportion to Rocket. He's right below his knee. And to the rest of the group, he is a monster. He just looks really cool, and I hope you guys liked my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Infinite Series Build-A-Figures. Check us out at geekculturepodcast.com. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker. And subscribe, like, comment, and share, and we'll be posting more reviews soon. And lastly, welcome to the cult. Yeah!